Hi, my name is Emily Willocks, and I'm going to be presenting this seminar on the evolution of gigantism in Amphiumid salamanders. So we're looking at three particular species of modern salamander. We have a one-toed species, which grows up to 30 centimeters in length. We then have a two-toed species, which grows up to a meter in length, and then a three-toed species, which also grows up to a meter and beyond. So they were wanting to see if there was a genetic link between these three species as to why two became quite large and one stayed quite small. If you look at the distribution of these three species along the southeastern coastal plains of the US, you can see that our smaller species, represented by our little blue dots, is quite restricted in its distribution, whereas our two larger species have become quite widespread in a large area. To compare these three species, they took the mitochondrial and nuclear genes out of 60 preserved specimens of modern and extinct species to see if there was a common ancestor to explain this difference in size. These were mapped out onto a comparative tree and then mapped onto our distribution chart. The close-up of that distribution chart shows that our smaller species actually lived inside the genetic distribution of one of our larger species, whereas our second large, which then interlaps into the distribution of our second largest species. This shows that at some stage of its life cycle, this particular larger species shares a habitat with our species that stays quite small before spreading out as it grows. They also compared the body length and averaged out the body mass of a group of the species to compare these on box plots. And as you can see here, our two larger species actually have quite a large range in all of these areas, whereas our smaller species is really quite restricted in its growth levels. They concluded that there was a relationship between the two larger species, which makes them a sister taxa, and it was also concluded that this larger species over here, shows the earliest evolutionary change to gigantism, whereas our two sharing the same habitat actually have a common ancestor, and as one started to grow, it expanded its habitat. It can be concluded that the gigantic body size evolved once as an ancestral condition in a common ancestor of our two modern species, and the miniaturization is a specialization to its specific habitat, or it can be concluded that there were two instances of gigantism, which is our two modern species, which developed due to changes in environment and habitat, giving them the ability to become quite widespread. I hope you enjoyed listening to that. I found this study quite interesting, so thank you very much.